Hello Minecrafters, and welcome once again to my 1.17 survival world. To my left you can see that I've finally emerged from my man cave and built a proper starter home inspired by a medieval street called Shambles in my hometown of York. Perhaps we can take a closer look at that in the next episode. But right now I'm still buzzing from the results I got from my new oak farm design in episode 3. And I couldn't resist trying out the idea on the birch forest biome just across the river. Let's see if we can make similar improvements there. Firstly, let's remind ourselves of the basic dimensions of the oak farm. That is, 5 rows of 41 blocks, spaced 6 blocks apart, enclosed within a 49 block by 33 block fence line, giving an overall footprint of 3 chunks by 2 chunks. Since the trunks of player planted birch trees never exceed 7 blocks in height, there's no need in this case to use glass panes to stop the growth of tall variants. But the trunks will on average be 1 block taller than those of oak, which will cause us to make some small changes to the optimum planting for this tree type. Taking a closer look at the actual farm, I've run the boundary fencing along a chunk coordinate of 0, which gives the field corners the easy to remember chunk coordinates of 0, 0. Now coming in diagonally 4 blocks, we come to my first birch farm specific tuning mod. For the farm to be self-sustaining, I need every birch sapling drop that I can lay my hands on, and if it took longer than 4.5 minutes in clearing a row, I'd risk losing some through despawning. Since I average around 7.5 seconds per tree with a stone axe, this limits me to a maximum of 36 trees per row. So I've swapped out the coarse dirt at positions 1, 11, 21, 31 and 41 with stone blocks, leaving 4 stands of 9 trees with a 1 block gap between each. I've left the surplus jack-o'-lanterns in place, since the salvage costs would be a fair bit higher than the 1.5 seconds they cost to produce. So where are we with our work process? We can budget 15 seconds to tool up, 30 seconds to travel to the work site, 5 minutes to fell and collect drops for row 1, and another 5 minutes for row 2 comes to a total of 645 seconds. Just in time for sunset and a bit of sleep. The following day, row 3 should take me another 5 minutes, 1 final stand of 9 trees, about 70 seconds. About the same for the 6 spaced out trees that I hope will balance up the sapling production. And the same again for replanting. Add to that our standard 15 seconds for storage and 30 seconds for travel back, which gives my last minute scramble for saplings 1.5 minutes, which sounds reasonable. Let's see if the theory works in practice. Now I do enjoy watching the sunset through this window, not least for telling me that I finished the job in time. So let's have a look back at that storage chest and see what I finished up with. After making the appropriate time adjustments for axes consumed and sticks produced and so on, the overall farm performance was 740 logs plus 1 sapling in 1256 seconds. So we pretty well nailed it in balancing out the sapling production. Now this can be viewed as a combined output of 2 separate farms. A densely planted farm that consumes birch saplings, and the more spaced out planting that produces an excess. We obtain what the mathematicians amongst you will recognise as a pair of simultaneous equations, which solve to give a birch log cost of 1.69 seconds and 7 seconds per sapling, which makes the wandering trader's price of 5 emeralds per sapling seem almost reasonable. But let's focus on the figure for the logs. I clearly remember hacking my way through a forest thinking that 2 stacks of logs a day was a pretty good haul. But with this farm, a double chest represents less than 100 minutes, spread over 4 or 5 sessions, which prompts the question, what exactly are you going to do with a double chest of birch logs? It isn't exactly the most popular of building materials, but consider this. At 1.69 seconds a block, the cost of charcoal comes down to less than 2 seconds a block, which makes it competitive with coal. And how long would it take us to lay our hands on 12 stacks of coal at short notice? It's even got me wondering whether in middle game my bulk fuel of choice will be charcoal rather than blaze rods. And with that thought, I wish you all a very good night.